All right, guys. So today I feel like is going to be a big day for the company Baseus. I've reviewed several of their products in the past, and usually I walk away very impressed, especially because of the performance to price ratio of their products. However, most people have still never heard of this brand before, and I have not seen a whole lot of reviewers cover their stuff. But I do think today that may change, and that's because they have now partnered with Bose with their new lineup, which is the Inspire lineup. This includes 3 completely different products that have all been tuned by Bose. Now, we have seen Skull Candy do this, and we've actually seen this become pretty successful. And Bose is just one of those names that, it starts to draw people's attention. So which products are we going to check out? Well, we have the Inspire XH1, which is a pair of premium noise canceling wireless headphones that come in at $149. We have the XP1s, which is their new noise canceling true wireless earbuds that come in at $129. And last but not least, we have the XC1, which are their new open ear clip-on style earbuds, which also come in at $129. All 3 of these do use Bluetooth 6.1. They all support multi-point connection, and all 3 of these work with Baseus app. So that's going to give you your updates, the ability to control your sound with EQ options, noise canceling, being able to turn on LDAC, the Dolby audio, because all of these support Dolby audio, so you're getting that 360 sound. So definitely make sure to download the app first. Now, I am going to say that the packaging that you're seeing here throughout the video, these are pre-released packaging, so it may not match what the actual packaging looks like when it's released. I do want to point that out that I've had these actually probably for a month now. Well, we're going to go ahead and start with the XC1s. This is the clip-on style earbud, and I feel like this type of earbud, again, has been the style that's just kind of taken over this year, mainly because, again, it gives you the ability to just do what it is you do all day long, still be able to hear your surroundings, but still be able to listen to your music, your podcast, whatever. It just doesn't get in the way of whatever you're trying to do. What makes these unique is this is the first style of clip-on style earbuds that I've seen that is using dual drivers. So it includes a dynamic driver, and it's actually using a Knowles balanced armature driver. And on top of that, again, this pair supports Dolby audio, so you have that spatial audio. They are high-res certified because they do support LDAC playback, which it's kind of crazy for this style of earbud, but it's very interesting. And it also has what Baseus calls their Super Bass 2.0. Now, we've seen this before. This is what allows this type of product to have effective bass even if you listen at lower volumes. And they also went the route of giving these an IP66 rating, which means you get pretty strong protection against both dust and water. And with this style of earbud, that's a plus because you don't have to worry about whatever the elements are around you. Now, they also have a good flex to them. They are very soft, so it's definitely a pair that you can wear, kind of just forget that you even have them in your ears. And the battery life is also impressive because it comes in at 8 hours on the earbuds, and about 40 hours using the case. And it also has a fast charging feature where a 10-minute charge is going to get you about 2.5 hours of use. Now, if you are going to have these in LDAC mode, do expect the battery life to be quite a bit less than that. So now we're going to go ahead and move over to the XP1. Now, this is the STEM style design noise canceling wireless earbuds. These I would throw as a direct competitor to pairs like the new Apple AirPod Pros that just came out, but these are going to come in at about half the price. First off, I am going to say that the noise canceling on these is very impressive. Now, it is adaptive noise canceling, so it just kind of changes depending on whatever environment you're in. And on top of blocking out like lower tones of engine noises, what makes this impressive is it also does a really good job of blocking out people talking. So any higher tones, it's blocking out a good bit of that as well. Now, this pair also has Dolby audio, so it supports 360 spatial audio, which again is not something that I like or not something I'm a huge fan of, but I do feel like this is something that fits the XC1s or the open ear style earbuds a little bit better. I just didn't prefer it on the XP1s. Now, this pair is using dual layer diaphragm, so it does a really good job of kind of separating the low end from the mids and the treble, so it doesn't really kind of affect the mids and the treble because it does have some pretty effective bass. Again, this is another pair that's using that Super Bass 2.0, so you're going to have pretty good bass impact even at lower volumes. Now the battery life on these are almost identical to the XC1s because again, you still get 8 hours of battery life on the earbuds. There is a little bit more battery life using the case because you're going to get 45 hours total using that. And they also have the exact same fast charging feature where a 10-minute charge will get you 2.5 hours of use. So now we're going to move over to what I feel like is the star of this whole lineup. Now that is the XH1 noise canceling headphones. This is the most premium product that I've ever tested from Baseus. And that's because of not only the look, but the feel of the materials. The case that they've included is very nice. And the ear pads on these are some of the softest that I've tested on any product. It's like this velvet, like protein leather material. It's just super soft. So this is one of those, again, if you're going to travel and you want to wear them like for a long flight or just use them all day, they're not going to have discomfort or pain on the top of your head. Now the headphones are both high-res wired and wireless certified because you're getting that LDAC playback. And it's nice that you actually get to be able to use these in both modes. I've seen a lot of noise canceling wireless headphones not even have the ability to be used wired anymore, which is kind of crazy to me. Now this pair also supports that 360 sound with Dolby Audio, which again, I can take it or leave it. And they also use angled drivers mixed with like custom acoustic chambers that's giving these not only a dynamic sound, but it's giving it some space in the sound. Now these are the only pair out of these that are using Super Bass 3.0. So this is newer technology where the other ones were using 2.0. So you're going to get better bass response even at that lower volume compared to the other two products. And they also use ear mapping technology, which you have to go into the app to do. It's basically like going through a listening test and different things like that so that it will just customize an EQ setting based off what it thinks you like. Now the noise canceling on these are extremely solid. I would even say that these compare to the top tier noise canceling headphones, and that's what makes this pair stand out because at $149, that's saying a lot, especially when those other ones are coming in at $300, $400. And on top of that, the battery life is extremely impressive because you can get up to 100 hours on a single charge, and it also has a fast charging feature where a 10-minute charge will get you 12 hours. Now, all three of these, if you're going to use them for phone calls, they use environmental noise canceling to try to block out a lot of the noise around you. All of the voice quality on these are very good, but I want you guys to hear a test of all three of these. I'll just kind of put them side by side so you can kind of compare them here. So here is the mic test using the headphones. It is kind of noisy today because I can hear quite a bit of traffic off to the side. And so now here is the mic test using the clip-on style earbuds. Again, same conditions. I can hear some air conditioner noise over to the side and some traffic. But again, this is just to give you an idea of what it would sound like if you were to take a call. And so finally, here is the mic test using the earbud style. Now the wind decided to pick up. But luckily the earbud and the clip-on style earbud has wind noise reduction. So this will give you a pretty good idea of what it would sound like if you were to take a call outdoors and there's a more decent amount of noise going on. So now let's talk about the sound of all three of these. And this is where I feel like they disrupt the market the most. All three of these, in my opinion, sound like direct alternatives to Bose's Ultra lineup. So the QC Ultra headphones, the Ultra open ear clip-on style earbuds, and then the Quiet Comfort Ultra earbuds. All three of these are at least double the price of the Baseus competitors. So it's confusing to why Bose would do this. But in my opinion, I think this is just really good for us consumers. Now the XH1 headphones are a dynamic, spacious, but very detailed headphone. They do have lots of low end, while in my opinion, I still feel like the bass is fast and punchy. The vocals on them I feel like sound really good. Now there is like a slight warmth to them, which kind of leaves them sounding pretty natural overall. The mids are just kind of slightly forward. They didn't try to like push them right in front of your face. And the treble on them are just sparkly and clean. Now they're not overly bright, so they don't get harsh. And the soundstage and the sound imaging is very, very good. It's really spacious, kind of leaves you sounding like you're in a very large room, and it's really detailed as to where all the sounds are coming from. Now the XC1 is on a whole other level when it comes to clip-on style earbuds. I'm not sure if it's the multiple drivers, I'm not sure if it's the LDAC playback or the Bose tuning or whatever, but the bass is surprisingly good for this style of earbud. Again, I wouldn't say it's comparable to just like a normal pair of true wireless earbuds that uses ear tips, but it is still very impressive. Now, the vocals on these, in my opinion, I do feel like are a lot more forward. They're more upfront, and I feel like they have to kind of do this to compete with the surroundings around you. And the treble on these are also pretty bright, and I don't know if it's the Knowles Balance armature drivers that's adding this kind of brightness to them, but it is a very detailed, but still kind of boomy clip-on style earbud, and it just, in my opinion, had a different sound than some of the other ones that I've tested. And it's almost kind of like 3D-like, which is trippy at first. It just sounds like you're listening to a speaker just kind of in your environment. And lastly, we're going to talk about the XP1s. In my opinion, these are just a premium sounding pair of true wireless earbuds, period. I feel like the bass is definitely elevated with this pair. Mids are very forward, and the treble is actually fairly bright. It's almost like they said, let's just turn everything up. Let's make it where it's a very in-your-face dynamic sound. And it just kind of leaves this being a really fun earbud to listen to. I like the fact that the bass is punchy. The sub bass is handled extremely well. Again, I feel like the mids are fantastic. Like, no matter if it's male or female vocalists, they sound very upfront. They don't just kind of get buried in the rest of the mix. And I don't want to say that the treble is harsh, but it kind of teeters right on the line there. It is definitely bright and detailed, and I think it just kind of mixes very well with the fact that the bass is very punchy in these earbuds. It's just a fun earbud to listen to. And on top of that, even having that dynamic tuning, the soundstage and the sound imaging is still very spacious in these. I would say it kind of left me feeling like I was in a medium to large size room. But the awareness of where different sounds are coming from are just handled extremely well in these earbuds. So my overall opinion on this whole lineup, it's very simple. If you like the sound from Bose's Ultra lineup, or if you've just always wanted to try it but you didn't want to spend, $300 to $400 on trying the actual Bose products, this gives you almost an exact replica of that experience, but at a much lower price tag. I just don't feel like they held back or cut any corners here. I feel like each of these products are in line with the premium products in each of their categories. And I'm just super impressed, and I can highly recommend any of these. And if you are interested in checking these out, I will have links to all of these in the description. But guys, that kind of wraps up this video on the new Baseus Inspire lineup. Again, that includes the XH1 noise canceling headphones, the XC1 clip-on open ear style earbuds, and then the XP1 noise canceling wireless earbuds. But thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.